Velmir's sentence at Margrave's Bastion has been carried out. The bandits are dead. The stronghold is behind him. And now, after another dangerous contract, Velmir returns to claim what he was promised. But his journey does not end at the sawmill. At the Rotten Willow Tavern, he finally finds what he had been searching for. A new two-handed mace, heavier, stronger, a weapon worthy of the man Velmir has become. His fighting style has reached another level, but with greater strength comes greater responsibility, because the bloodsuckers that once plagued Mannshire have spread far beyond its borders. Their nests have grown, and this time they have reached this region. Perhaps it is coincidence. Perhaps it is fate. Either way, Velmir now carries a new weapon in his hands, and new sentences waiting to be executed. The reward has been claimed. The mace is ready. Now it is time to put an end to the bloodsuckers. The Cenobium of the Triune Host awaited Velmir. A new place, new enemies, and a new weapon in his hands. The mace was stronger than the one he carried before, but strength alone would not be enough. The enemies were growing stronger, so was he. Every battle had taught him something. Every contract had demanded something from him. And every promise he had made carried the same weight as the mace in his hands. Because what Velmir carried into battle was not simply a weapon. He carried his word, his promises, his responsibility. Every swing was a sentence. Every enemy brought before him required a judgment. And Velmir no longer saw those judgments as something someone else could deliver. He had accepted the responsibility himself. The mace had evolved, so had the executioner. And within the halls of the Cenobium, new sentences were waiting to be delivered. After carrying so many sentences upon his shoulders, Velmir had begun to understand something. There was strength in seeing a sentence through to its end. When an enemy finally fell beneath his judgment, something returned to him. Not simply strength, purpose. The certainty that the burden he carried had meaning. With every sentence fulfilled, the weight of his duty seemed to sharpen his resolve. His next swing came with greater purpose, more precise, more deliberate, more certain. Perhaps this was what it meant to become an executioner, not simply to deliver judgment, but to draw strength from the responsibility of carrying it. And Velmir was beginning to understand that his word was not a burden that weakened him. It was what kept him standing. And speaking of executions, the contract had been clear. Kill the cult leader. Velmir was not here to simply clear the Cenobium. He had been sent to execute the most powerful bloodsucker within its walls. But when he descended deeper into the dungeon, he began to feel the pressure of the place. The deeper he went, the more dangerous the enemies became. Yet somehow, they also felt more necessary to put down. Velmir understood what that meant. This was not simply another dungeon. Every bloodsucker he encountered was another part of the threat that had spread through these lands. And so, as he pushed deeper, the responsibility became heavier. But with every bloodsucker he executed, part of that burden was fulfilled. One sentence delivered, then another, until there was only one left, the cult leader. And Velmir intended to make sure that sentence was delivered as well. The cult leader had been sentenced. Once again, Velmir had kept his word. His new mace had proven itself worthy of the task, carrying his judgment against enemies stronger than those he had faced before. The contract was complete, but Velmir was not ready to leave. Before claiming his reward, he chose to search the unexplored chambers of the Cenobium. There were still cultists hiding within its depths. They were no longer part of the contract, but leaving them behind would mean leaving a threat behind as well. So Velmir continued, not for payment, not for reputation, but because the responsibility had become his. If he could reduce the chance of this nest rising again, then he would. And if the bloodsuckers returned, then perhaps they would simply face the same fate. Velmir would return. The sentence would be delivered again. For now, however, the Cenobium had fallen silent, and Velmir had another road ahead of him. After claiming his reward once again, Velmir had another destination in mind: the chapel. Within its walls was a tablet that Alcree desperately wanted to recover. It was not Velmir's concern why the tablet mattered to him. A promise had been made, and Velmir had decided to keep it. Before leaving, he prepared himself for the journey and secured a new belt. Then, together with the caravan, he set out toward the chapel. But Velmir did not know what awaited him there. Alcree was not the only one searching for the tablet. Bandits had learned of its value as well. To them, it was nothing more than an opportunity, something they could steal and sell for a considerable amount of gold. Velmir, however, saw things differently. The tablet was tied to a promise, and a promise was enough. His duty had begun before he even reached the chapel. Velmir resolved the situation. The priest was safe. So was the gravedigger, who had been protecting the tablet from the bandits trying to take it from him. But there was a problem. The tablet was not here. After speaking with the priest, Velmir learned that it had been taken to Theospher's Refuge. For reasons Velmir did not fully understand, the priest entrusted him with the key that would allow him to reach it. Then came something even more unexpected. According to the priest, Velmir had been chosen by someone he called the Host to recover the tablet. Velmir did not know who the Host was. He did not know why he had been chosen, but he knew what he had been asked to do. Two responsibilities now stood before him. One promised to Okri, and a new duty placed upon him by the Host. The path was clear. Enter Theospher's Refuge. Recover the tablet. It sounded simple, but believe me, it would be anything but a simple walk.
Velmir cleared the path to the refuge, but when he reached its entrance, the key he carried seemed to pull him toward the tablet. What awaits him inside Theospher's refuge? We'll find out in the next chapter. To be continued.